Hi there, I'm Thomas and welcome to Prussian Hussar. So on today's episode we're gonna have a look at the shoes, different shoe models and how they evolved in the German army over the time, and a little bit of a comparison to the Austria-Hungarian shoes. And as you can see here, we got here the Prussian model of 1914-1916. This is again a German army, but the Bavarian style shoe. Again 1914 until 1917 was this in use. Here we got the German mountain shoe, which was produced in 1917. This is the Austria-Hungarian model from 1910 around. And here in the back we have the Austro-Hungarian mountain shoe, and I think this was produced as well in the 1910s, 1912 maybe. And yeah, we're gonna have a quick look shoe by shoe in this today's episode, and I think at the end a little bit of comparison. The source for the previous shoe models we use again Peach, and he described the evolving of the army shoes in the throughout the 19th century. And we start with this shoe over here, which was introduced in 1887. So these parts down here, they were made out of leather, while these upper parts here were made out of grey cloth. In 1893, the new model was introduced, which we can see here, and it was made out of leather completely. And if you compare now how the laces here are shown, it is apparently the direct ancestor. Before or during the 19th century, we see that the shoe models were a bit more wild. So the second source we are using is the book written by Kraus, which looks at the field grey uniform of the German army from 1907 to 1918. And we will base the following up models that I'm presenting on his texts actually. Let's have a deeper look into them. And yeah, let's start with the Prussian-Bavarian pairs. Today we look at the models of 1914 until 1916, 17, something like that. At the start they were given out in a natural color, and as look these shoes when I had them the first time, but after a few years of service now they blackened after constant cleaning and greasing actually the side. So this is this is a Prussian model. As you can see, we got the tongue, which is pretty normal. Then we got 6 holes here, which are like here pierced and strengthened with metal. And the heel apparently, and on the downside we just have the nails, right? And yeah, in comparison now to the Bavarian model, which was in service from 1914 to 1917, you can see here in the first place the difference, because the Bavarian model has here its broad tongue, or its bed tongue, which was it called, oder Fledermauszunge. Apart from this, they are pretty much the same. So here in the back we have a leash, so you can put the shoes better on. And in 1917, even in Bavaria, they got a lack of leather, and so they were produced like the Prussian models. And between the infantry and the cavalry models, they were both the same. Maybe the difference is here in the heel, in the 1940 model, with about a few centimeters difference. And as you can see as well here now from the pattern, these are not that broad. And if you compare them with the infantry model of the Austro-Hungarian, we come to this in a minute, we see the differences. And yeah, now we take into comparison this pair, so the Austrian-Hungarian model of 1910. And the first thing we see is we got here 8 holes, not 6. And they're stamped right into the leather. They don't have the metal ring like in the Prussian and Bavarian or the German shoes. So the tongue here in the front is like the same here on this, like on this Prussian model. But as you can see, it's in the front much broader than the Prussian and the Bavarian models. And if you're looking here on the heels, then we can see the Prussian model is slightly higher than the Austrian-Hungarian model. Again, here the making stronger piece. Here it is on the outside, while it's here on the inside. And that's it so far, I would say, for the differences between the shoes. Apart from this, they are pretty much alike. Well, you see still the very detailed differences, and I would have to say now again that here these models, they are actually made by the same shoemaker, so you actually can see here the difference again in the broadness, while this model is made by another shoemaker, and still, right? You can see still here they're not that broad like the one in the middle. And yeah, I think that's it so far for these infantry and cavalry models. I should maybe mention that the shoes of the Austria-Hungarian cavalry might have been the same as for the infantry, but I would have to check it again just to be sure, so you know. And yeah, as said, the infantry models and the cavalry models in the German and Prussian army, they were pretty the same, apart from right from the start to the few centimeters in the back, but that's so far. So I think this was it now for the usual, for the normal shoe. And now let's have a look to the mountain shoes, right? So let's swatch there. The heel of these models were for both infantry and cavalry 2 cm, while the previous models were 1.8 cm for infantry and 2.5 for cavalry. From 1916 onwards, the heel got the same height as the boot, which was around 3 cm. The shoes had to be blackened during 1915, together with all the other leather equipment. Usually, the rust side of the leather was on the outside. Here we are with the mountain shoes. Yeah, as you can see here on the sides, they have not 8 holes, but in total 8 places to put the laces. As you can see here on the Austria-Hungarian shoe, these metal parts are blackened, while it is not on the German. Well, the German was introduced in 1917 as mountain shoe. Before the troops used the civilian style mountain shoes. It is said, at least, that they were all like the same, or there were no much differences, while the Austro-Hungarian shoe was used throughout the war, obviously, because we know Austria and there are a lot of mountains, I would say. Now you can see the heights are pretty different. I just put them this. So the German style shoe is far higher than the Austro-Hungarian, and it has on the top wool felt, which fits here pretty good actually, and makes a bit the top layer of the shoe a bit softer. And well, again you see the Austria-Hungarian model is a bit broader again than the German style shoe, and both have leashes here in the back. So this one again made of band, so you can slip it easier on, while this here is made just of leather. Yeah, to the soles, well, I should mention that now beneath these there are rubber soles, because I actually wear them in my everyday life, and being on modern boardwalks or even supermarkets with metal beneath the soles doesn't work out that good. Trust me on this. So if you can see, this is how it looks, and I now put in here a picture of how it should be with the nails, and you can see that the nails, how they are ordered beneath the shoe, they are, yeah, they look pretty much alike, right? Now, looking again, we see that apart from the broadness, the cut is pretty much the same, right? And again, the good thing here is that these are again made by the same shoemaker, so we can see all the different details, and we know for sure that this one is broader than the German style. And I think that it's almost now for the mountain shoe. And as you can guess, of course, the cavalry, they didn't have any mountain shoes because why would they? I think that's it so far now for the mountain shoes. And then let's have last word, I would say. With the upcoming war in the mountains, the Germans learned that they would need mountain shoes for the mountain troops. So during 1915, mountain shoes were purchased. To have a second pair of mountain shoes, the hobnails of the regular shoes had to be replaced with mountain nails. The German-issued mountain shoe came up as late as 1917. Before that, civilian models were used. The rough side of the leather was on the outside here too. And yeah, as you have seen, the shoes were getting an Ersatzprodukt. That won't happen that good. And yeah, as you have seen and as I have slightly mentioned, I actually wear most of them in my everyday life because they are very well made, at least in my case here. The other thing is that there are not many differences to modern shoes, or that at least they are pretty much incognito. Where the soldiers, that means where the infantry and the cavalry put them, we're gonna look deeper into it another time. Maybe there will be a bit more comparisons to other style shoes, maybe what had the other armies. And I think that's it so far. So thank you all for watching. Then see you at the next episode. What this is gonna be, well, we shall see. And until then, have a good one, and don't forget, always remember,